Monday, November 23rd, 2020.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Their minutes.
Pete, you got any thoughts for us today?
I can tell you that I got a letter from the county engineer wanting an accounting of total general fund monies that have been authorized and paid as a bonus or hazard pay, not funded through the CARES Act throughout Erie County during calendar year 2020. That includes both the $500 and $750 giveaways. Quote from the county engineer. So my thought is, I would say, I know we got an accounting from the auditor's office on the $750, and I will send them that, but tell them that, you want the $500 accounting piece, ask the county auditor, it's the payroll officer, what that is.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I think he's talking about general fund giveaway. I think he's not maybe understanding the correlation between the CARES Act money and the general fund money.
Well, I think he does.
You think?
Yeah, I think so.
And he understands that the CARES can only be used for health care and safety services.
I think so.
Okay.
There also is, going through your meeting, a communication from the engineer and an email. And Aaron, you probably know a little bit about this. You said you received a call from somebody asking the status of the Finlay project at Bogert Road, and you know this will be getting done. And if I'm wrong, say so, but I believe you sent that over to the engineers, and they made some responses. The last part was, again, from the county engineer. Again, he didn't copy me, but he certainly mentions me several times. Said, for your information, this was entirely an unfounded unilateral action of Pete Daniel, as at that time there was no dollar number associated with any input of the county engineers. It was entirely based upon actions of Richland County, not Erie County, that Pete read about and simply jammed down our throats as being gospel. Those funds, $830,000, in fact, were being held in abeyance by myself, pending what the future held. It comes with Pete's cookie-cutter mindset, proven time and time again wrong. It simply demonstrates how very little our administrators learned of our operation over the last 24 years, almost that I have been here. And finally, with the county administrator and the commissioner who have taken over the county road maintenance program, your question needs to be taken to them. We don't know. Who, Aaron, did the call you received come from? Certainly you documented that information.
Did we take over the county road program?
Oh, no.
I was saying, I don't think that's even allowed.
No, I don't believe so. Other than the fact that we budget and we do approve contracts.
But we don't do that for just the road program, we do that for the entire county, don't we?
That is true.
Okay, just checking.
So, I'm confused. I remember the Bogert Road tar and chip where the citizens showed up here in this room to protest a tar and chip, as I remember. I don't think they were here to protest microsealing, were they? Thinlay, as they called?
No, they had heard that they were going to tar and chip and came in and were upset about it.
Right, and then I think about a little while after that, as I remember it, the engineer's office said, we're not gonna tar and chip. I never heard any mention about Thinlay on Bogert Road this year, nor is it in his proposed projects for the year, is it, that I saw? The Thinlay that supposedly got canceled because of us.
No, that was proposed.
That was proposed, $835,000.
For Thinley?
Yeah,
Well, why were they in here complaining about tar and chip then?
I think they just maybe didn't know the difference, they just.
right,
you know,
exactly.
They thought that was gonna be tarred and chipped. And really, I mean, we thought that was a better program, or I personally think it's a
Yeah,
better
yeah.
program.
All right, that's news to me. I didn't know that
Yeah,
we
yeah,
were gonna micro seal.
yeah, the tar and chip piece was 515,000, which we did not, put in this budget.
But we did put,
Yeah. Yeah, we put all the rest of this in here. Again, I'll have to go back, I think we may have tweaked one of these numbers, but I don't think we did.
let's see, Pete, let me see what you're looking at.
That's essentially his resurfacing program for the year, what they submitted to us. Again, what had happened with the engineer's budget, he had given us here's what he wanted, he goes, here's the budget I want. When we looked at it, he was pretty much budgeting every single penny we had. Again, with our policies, we're not comfortable with doing that. You need to leave yourself some room, as essentially a target fund balance. So that's kind of how we reworked his budget and came up with a number and saying, hey, in case what we're hearing from the outside world of some other engineer, what they may lose in revenues because of COVID, and the fact that we want your budget to fit within our policies and have a targeted reserve at the end, here's what your budget should look like. And that's kind of where
Which is the same thing we do with DOES.
Everybody else.
We don't spend every penny in DOES, we keep a fund balance. I mean,
Right.
It's not like, nothing we did was exceptional, or, that we didn't do to every other, just, that's how we budget.
yeah.
But he didn't do any Thinley this year then, did he?
To be honest with you, I don't know.
Well, I'm looking, there's Hull on here, US 250 to Galloway, Galloway to Camp, Taylor Road, Bote Road, Columbus Avenue, Clark to Bogart. I don't remember any of the, I don't think they did any Thinley. So there's
I don't think they
another
did either.
835,000 in the piggy bank.
Sure.
Yeah, must have a lot of money that sitting in that account that he didn't spend,
Mm-hmm.
being as his revenues were relatively the same. Interesting.
You didn't give the bonuses to the guys. You gave it to all the people in the office. None of the road workers got $750, $150.
Well, that's funny you'd say that because I got a letter about that, certified to my house. I don't know what that was about. Did you get it, Matt, or?
Got a notice that I had a certified letter from the county engineer sent to my house, which I was surprised by based on the fact that our offices are directly across the parking lot from each other, and we have a very nice inter-office mail system, and we also have email, which is free. I don't think spending taxpayer money on certified mail to my home is an appropriate expenditure, and I'm not accepting the letter.
Did you get the same, Steve?
Yeah, I did not I have not read the letter. I had delivery notice on Friday, the 20th, and I have not been to the post office yet to pick it up.
Huh. Well, you guys want to hear it?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
It says, Dear Mr. Shenigo, I just learned in yesterday's commissioner meeting, Pete Daniel again brought up the fact that he did not provide the $750 bonus to my bargaining employees. Pete twice mentioned that I explained with my reasoning to him for the actions, but apparently those reasons were never shared with each of you. I find it strange that no one asked him what the reason was. Nevertheless, I will share with you now, as you still seem to want to micromanage our operations over here. I held a meeting with all my bargaining employees and explained why they did not and will not receive an additional handout as you have approved for various employees throughout the county. Parentheses, inasmuch as we need a new salt barn so badly, a safe structure to store salt used for the safety of the traveling public, I am at a loss to understand much of this giveaway, end quote. So here's the deal. My salaried employees on staff worked through the initial shutdown, keeping the operations of this office running effectively. For that, they were recently compensated $750 as hazardous pay, funding not reimbursed through the CARES Act for this entity. The bargaining employees were all sent home for a month, capital letters, with no loss or interruption of pay or benefits. A memorandum of understanding was executed between the county engineer and ASME Local 145 outlining such paid administrative leave. As far as I'm concerned, this issue is closed. Bold, cap letters, underline. Another thing, while you and your administration were hell-bent on pruning millions out of our roadway maintenance budget, funding that would have been spent benefiting the taxpayers of Erie County, now you're going to adjust my 2020 budget so I can yet enhance your giveaway program. I am not fiscally responsible to follow your lead. Well, there you go.
Just, as the engineer says, you know, I didn't provide any of the explanations to you guys, I will give you one of them. And he said that he was not gonna give his bargaining unit members the bonus because they get paid overtime, whereas his non-bargaining do not. And I reminded the official that we budget overtime in his non-bargaining area, and if that's the case, then we don't need to budget that in there anymore. He goes, oh, I take that back, I do pay some overtime there, but we need to keep that part in the budget.
So he's not giving the bonus to the guys who go out and plow snow at 3 o'clock in the morning because he's going to let them go out and plow snow at 3 o'clock in the morning to keep the roads open.
Yep.
That's mighty big of him.
Yeah.
You know, that overtime is, you know, that's pretty much a bonus, right? When you get to work for your bonus, or giveaway, as he's terming it. I mean, that's a interesting philosophy,
Right.
to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about the salt in the roadway. I mean, those men over there are the ones that ultimately are keeping the roadways safe. They're the guys that
Absolutely.
get up in the middle of the night and go out and risk harm to themselves to keep our roads open.
Or when a traffic light malfunctions during the middle of the night, they have to call somebody out to get it back up and working, I mean.
And the same guys that have to go out and pull a giant tarp off a giant pile of salt that's sitting in a parking lot because he won't build a salt barn because we won't give him the money to build a salt barn out of the general fund, even though the Department of Environmental Services just bought a new barn at the landfill and at the plant on River Road, and they paid for it out of their funds because it's part of their operations.
Yeah, and he certainly legally can build a
Absolutely.
salt barn with his monies, no question.
The morale of the guys, they stop in and use our restroom a lot here in Mason when they're working on the east side of the county, highway guys. I saw a few of them on Friday, there's nothing towards you guys. The negativity and the low morale they have is towards Mr. Parchman, so I just want to let you know.
Well, I've never heard somebody say, you're not getting a bonus because you have the opportunity to work overtime. I mean, that's a first.
But then to say my other people don't, when in fact they do.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not discounting the work the office staff does over there because they do have important jobs, but, you know, keeping the roads open and safe for kids going to school and people going to work so they can pay taxes to pay our everybody in the government. I mean, those guys are really important. The guys at DOES who keep the water running, those are really important jobs. And to say, oh yeah, here, I'm gonna let you work overtime, that's mighty big.
Well, Pete, Hank, I think where we're at is I think we, if I recall, we probably estimated that gas tax would be down, and what, 97% of his funding comes from gas tax, Pete, I think?
A good, a very,
Big
a
chunk.
significant part of it, absolutely, without a doubt.
That and the licensures or whatever they get the money on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you estimated at one time that, that was gonna be substantially lower. I don't think it turned out that way.
No, it didn't.
$800,000 didn't, in fact, might be even or maybe just a little bit down. So he's got that money, and then we helped him. I don't think we were micromanaging. We looked at the hot-in-place asphalt ridiculousness that's never been done in the area before, and we said, and we looked at a road that, all intents purposes, didn't have a crack in it. And we thought to ourselves, well, why don't we save that money? Because, Jack's initial budget was gonna spend down $1.7 million of the piggy bank money, taking him almost down to zero.
Mm-hmm.
So we thought, geez, if there was a way that we could figure out to not do a project so that we wouldn't have to sacrifice other things. But now I'm finding out we didn't do any thin lay. We ought to check on that. But I don't think we did Hull Road. In fact, I know we didn't do Hull Road. I don't think we did Bogart Road. So there's another
All
$800,000.
those contracts would have come through here.
Yeah. So there's another $800,000. Then we did the tar and chip, which we didn't do. That was another
500.
500 and some $1,000. So not only did we not get the deduct on the gas tax, we didn't do the tar and chip, we saved the money on the Mason Road, and we didn't do the thin lay. He certainly has enough money this year to build a salt barn and give the bonus to the guys. Those guys, I tell you, if one of these days they say we're not coming in, we got a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I know there doesn't seem like it's fair. We did move the money, right? So that we moved it
I believe so.
for his payroll line?
We adjusted his payroll line, yes, through the end of the year.
And we amended the budgetary policies,
What his
right?
perspective was, our perspective was, we asked a lot of people to do a lot of things once this all started last spring. And we, in our purview with the furloughs, and then as soon as we realized that, hey, it's not gonna be quite as bad, the world really isn't ending, it's still gonna be some difficult times, we took action to try to make people whole as quickly as we could and as completely as we could. And as we did that, we decided that we would reach out to those not underneath our purview. And that includes the engineer and all the other departments. And that's why we wanted to make sure that everybody had an opportunity to receive that bonus because of life in 2020. And we have taken the action, including the last couple of weeks here, when we made sure that our end of things are in place, transferred money into the salary line items and things like that, and we wanted to just make sure that it was an option to do. And if he chooses not to do that option, there's not much else we can do about it.
Well, it looks like we did some blacktopping on Bardshar, Patent Track, Portland roads. And we
Is
did-
that on there?
And we did some onyx work on Patent Track, Mason, and Risden. But that was the major road work that got done.
Are those even on the thin lay?
No, this is actual blacktop
Blacktop.
resurfacing.
Well, Bardshar, Portland, Patent Track, Elon,
Those are paving projects?
yeah.
So no thin lay?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think we did seal on, but, yeah.
That's odd. We had a good year for
I think
thin
we
lay.
did a contract with Strausser, but I think that was for that, what they call that onyx.
Yeah, they did resurfacing in Onyx.
And that same company, I know does thin lay, but I think we only issued one contract.
You know,
this
well, that's a
past
shame,
year.
because, there's no question, they have plenty of money.
Yeah.
There there's no question at all.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in March, when we're ahead of making these budget decisions, you know, who knows what was gonna happen? The worst case scenario we could've had was us spending money we didn't have, so that's why we were very conservative
That's right.
on setting budgets in March,
For
because
everybody.
we had this huge uncertainty facing us. I mean, surely, as we found out with the sales tax, didn't come out as bad as we thought. We're certainly taking a hit on it. Same thing with the gas tax. Certainly taking a hit on it, but not as bad as we thought.
But year over year, we're going to have more money this year because the state government raised the gas tax. So they're
True.
going to have more money in 2020, all county engineers, all county, everybody.
Yep.
It's going to have more money even with the hit.
Yep,
They're still going to have more money than they had in 2018
yes,
and going back.
exactly.
That's 1.5 million?
Five-ish.
Roughly, yeah, five-ish, that's what that was our original projections when the governor changed and the legislature changed the law, increased the tax rate.
So, did he get this year 1.5 million or no? Because it didn't come in till the mid-year, right?
No, this would have been the first full
Yeah.
This is the full
12
year.
months of collection. He got a
Okay.
little bit last year.
So last year he got,
A little
3
bit,
months, probably
Okay.
September, right? Came
something like
September.
that, something like that. It's usually 2 months behind, but yeah, I think you're right. Took effect July 1st, which probably would have, yeah, so 4 months were September, October, November, December.
okay,
That's all I have.
well, that was plenty. So, we got some resolutions to do?
Yep, resolution by the Board of Commissioners for the purpose of entering into agreement with Bonded Chemicals.
Second?
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Shenega?
Yes.
Resolution by the Board of Commissioners for the purpose of entering into agreement with Bonded Chemicals.
Second?
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Shenega?
Yes.
The purpose for entering into agreement with Keimer Water Solution.
Second?
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Shenega?
Yes.
Resolution for the purpose of entering into agreement with Applied Specialties.
Second?
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Shenega?
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the county auditor to make budget modifications and a supplemental appropriation.
Second?
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Shenega?
Yes.
A resolution authorizing the county auditor to make interfund transfers.
Second?
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Shenega?
Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
No, we have executive session.
I don't think we do.
No,
Yeah, I
Hearing
think we,
rules.
huh? It's still on. Yeah, I thought you said leave it on.
I called him this morning. He said it's been delayed, so I took it off.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Second?
Mr. Old?
Yes.
Mr. Schaffner?
Yes.
Mr. Shenega?
Yes.